All right, guys, so this might be one of my favorite stories of the day. Newsmax is a network that's to the right of Fox News, significantly so. It's sort of like One American News Network. I mean, this is just, they're Trump sycophants to the max. Well, when they're not doing Trump stories where they're tickling his nutsack and coddling his taint, they do incredibly goofy culture war segments. Well, here's a great example of one of these. So this is Greg Kelly, and he has some thoughts on who and what is an existential threat to the United States of America.
One day, we're going to have the physical integrity of this country back. It's bad right now, I know, but there's something worse, far worse going on. It's the rotting of America from within. And I'm sorry, the Kardashians, they are so responsible for so much of it. Kim, Khloe, the other one.
I love this. This is so glorious. Imagine looking at the current political and cultural landscape and coming to the conclusion that the biggest problem is the Kardashians. It's almost too stupid for words. I mean, you could point to climate apocalypse as a much bigger problem. You can point to corruption as a much bigger problem. You can point to capitalism run amok, leading to incredible income and wealth inequality, worse than the Gilded Age. That's the main problem? No. The Kardashians, and as you're about to see, social media. This is the biggest problem.
All of them, and the parents and the brothers and the whole damn system, they don't have much talent. What do they have? Cameras and a big...
Greg Kelly has even less talent than the Kardashians do.
Rear end, I guess. And the taking of the pictures and posting them. The danger of this is they have inspired so many men and women, usually teens and 20-somethings, that you too can be famous even without talent. All you need is a phone and an attitude.
Okay, again, he's famous without talent. So, glass house, son.
And have at it. And you can take your chances and you might hit it big, like this person. I don't know that much about dancing, but I know that this is pretty mediocre dancing. This is not good.
Okay, he's just pulling random videos on Instagram of people shaking their ass and dancing, and he's like, oh, our culture is in decline. Okay, no, I would argue, for example, when Republicans denied equal rights because they were against gay marriage, and by the way, still are, 157 of them in the House just voted against it this past month, I would argue that is a culture in decline. That is authoritarianism run amok. When you have people on the right now openly saying they're against the freedom and liberty to choose your own path, they're against even adults being transgender, well, that would be a culture in decline. That's what that would be. That'd be authoritarian, against freedom, against liberty, big government dictating everything about your social life. When you look at, a bunch of clowns dancing on social media, I mean, that's like the whole point of social media. Now, you might not like it. It's certainly not my cup of tea, right? But there's no harm. Like, what's the harm? I agree if you make the argument social media has sort of brought the worst out of a lot of us. It makes everybody very selfish and narcissistic and almost in like a North Korea Kim Jong-un type way. We try to present the ideal version of ourselves in a way that's like, look at me, aren't I wonderful? There is something that's sort of gross about that, which is why I'm not a big social media fan. All I use is Twitter, and it's usually to fuck around and post news articles and like post jokes, right? But like, I get that argument, but to say, I mean, this is like, thing number 38 down the list on issues with the country and issues with our politics and our culture. And he's arguing, like, no, this is actually the biggest problem.
But this is Genula. She's got how many? She's got 7 million followers. She's got 30 million likes on her, 82 million likes on her videos. That's a lot of likes. And you can probably make money that way, but it happens. It's like lightning, getting struck by lightning. You don't know where it's actually going to land. But so many women, young men think they too can do this. They're not developing real skill. They're just walking around young with a phone. And you too can be a model. I actually think this poses a graver risk to America than the illegal wave. I want to fix that, don't get me wrong, but this is the existential threat to America. She's beautiful, but flaunting it. And not just her, but everybody else.
Okay, what do you propose as a solution? We ran into this with the story we covered yesterday with Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens talking about how porn is leading to the decline of America. What's your solution? What do you actually want to do? Do you want to ban any sort of risque pictures from being posted on social media, even if they're not naked, even if they're just in a bikini like this person, or even if they're just shaking their butt but they're clothed? Do you want to ban that? Do you want the social media companies to, free of their own volition, ban that after you pressure them? Do you want the government to get involved and say, this is like pornography and we're going to ban this? Even though, by the way, that'd be deeply against the First Amendment. That wouldn't even stand, right? Like, that would be slapped down in court. But is that what you want? What do you propose as a solution to this problem that you think is so giant? And by the way, this idea that, like, it's only this generation that's like this, I don't buy that. If you had created Twitter and Instagram and Facebook in 1923, by 1927, you'd have, Grandma Betsy shaking her booty. Like, it would have happened. It would have happened. So it's just, I agree, social media sometimes fosters the more base instincts in us, which is not necessarily a good thing. But if you want to, again, it all comes back to how far down the list is this problem for real? Now, he brings up, undocumented immigrants coming into the country, like that's, some sort of huge problem and some sort of crisis. Well, I don't know what to tell you, man. Statistics show that undocumented immigrants and documented immigrants are less likely to commit crime. A number of studies have shown that immigration is a net positive for the economy. It's not a net negative. Look, I'm a moderate on the issue of immigration, but it's not this huge boogeyman that they make it out to be. But virtually every other big problem we talk about on this show, low wages, income and wealth inequality, lack of unionization, climate change, corruption, the war in Ukraine, tensions rising with China and Russia. Like, so many other things are more important. And this guy is like, a beautiful woman in a bikini. Disgusting. This is leading to the downfall of America. How warped is your moral compass if that's the conclusion that you come to? And again, it's not like I don't see room for reasonable criticism of social media outlets, but this is just so far above and beyond what's reasonable.
Samuel Adams, one of the great founders of our country, he did a lot to make America America, said this once: when people are universally ignorant and debauched in their manners, they will sink under their own weight without the aid of foreign invaders.
First of all, I would never take at face value a quote from Greg Kelly about the Founding Fathers, ever. Like, that could be totally made up. It could be real, but it could be totally made up. But what an amazing thing to put on screen right now. Here, I got one for you. Thomas Jefferson founded University of Virginia, and he said he wanted that college to be, and I quote, free forever. There's another Founding Fathers quote. Do you agree with the sentiment behind that one, Greg Kelly? Of course you don't. So if we're going to do a quote off with the Founding Fathers, there's many directions we could take this. These are people who wore powdered wigs and shat in outhouses. So maybe they were right about some things and dead wrong about other things. Just a thought.
And as we're dealing with foreign invaders, I kind of wonder about that, huh? And right now, Joe Biden is not equipped to do anything about this. He doesn't want to do anything about it.
Look at the juxtaposition. You have like a dancing girl and people trying to get into the United States of America. These things aren't like remotely related. And also, again, they're not in the list of like the top 20 problems with the country. But this is like the fear porn that they throw out there for their geriatric audience.
About this. So I actually think, as bad as the illegals coming in, that young woman and her example just might pose a graver risk to them.
Come on. Look, I don't even know if he really believes this, because Greg Kelly is one of those guys who, I don't know if you guys follow his Twitter account. I highly recommend it. He's acting like if you gave Trump peyote on a random Wednesday, that's how Greg Kelly tweets. That's how he acts. Everything's all caps, exclamation points, tries to sound like Trump, always making incredibly ridiculous points that I know he doesn't believe. So he's playing a character, so I don't know if he really believes this stuff he's saying, but my guess would be he doesn't. My guess would be he knows he's just playing this goofy role, and he enjoys playing this goofy role, so... Because there's no way anybody really believes this. I mean, okay, that's not true. There's some tiny percentage that might believe this stuff, but you and I both know damn well your super far right-wing uncle is low-key perusing Instagram and looking for some big old titties in his face. Like, they all posture, they all moralize, like, they don't do that shit, but you know they do that. It's just like with Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens talking about how porn is the destruction of society. Every idiot watching that video, clicking like, you know, within the past 2 days, they beat their meat. They were choking the purple-headed yogurt slinger to some incredibly deviant, gross stuff that you or I would probably wince at if we saw it. You know what I'm saying? So it's just... Guys... Get your moral compass right. Get your moral compass, your ethical meter. Get that thing finely tuned, dog. Because if you're caring about this shit and you're not focusing first and foremost on uncorrupting the system, fixing the massive income and wealth inequality problem, increasing people's freedom and liberty in their social lives, then you're just missing the big picture. Ever since Adpocalypse, when YouTube defunded all independent news and politics overnight, we haven't trusted them. We know they can pull the rug out from underneath us at any time. If you enjoy this content, please consider tipping $1 or $2 per month on the Secular Talk Patreon. Link in the video description box below. Thanks for your support.